Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Stacy. This is going to be the first episode of Stacy Sews. I've really been getting into sewing the last few months. I've been posting some of the projects that I've been doing on Instagram, but I haven't really talked about it on this channel. But I have had a few people say that they would like to see some sewing videos, so I thought I would give it a go and see how it works out. Half of the things I attempt to make do not turn out right, so you'll get to see the process of me failing. But that's okay because I learn through my mistakes and I want to just keep trying and figuring this stuff out. Also, I'm not good with patterns. I'm really horrible with like looking at instructions and understanding and reading instructions. I learn so much better from watching someone else do the thing. And so when I have something I want to make, I will watch a million YouTube videos of different people making that thing. And most times they're all making it differently. So I feel like there isn't like a set way to sew, which is perfect because I kind of want to just do things the way I want to do them. And a lot of the fun for me is just kind of figuring things out. So if you guys haven't seen these on Instagram, I thought I would show you some of the things that I've made so far so you can kind of get an idea of like my skill level, where I'm at. But I made this tote bag. It's lined and it does have a pocket inside here. You can't see it very well, but I was really proud of this. This is the first thing that I made that I didn't really screw up in the process of. I did make a cloak for my daughter, and that was a nightmare. I messed up so many things on that cloak, but this tote was really simple. And then just recently I made this little dog jacket. It's tiny because my dog is tiny and it fits her perfectly. I did have a pattern for this and I basically worked off of like half the pattern and the other half was me just trying to do it on my own and figure it out. So that's basically how I work. But I was really happy with this too. This turned out pretty well and I didn't have like any major hiccups with that either. So today I'm gonna try to figure out how to make a Christmas apron. So I do have a pattern for an apron. It's this right here. I picked this up at Walmart. They have a bunch of these brand of patterns that are really cheap. And it's supposed to be really simple to make. So it's really good for a beginner. And I like on here, it says you only need 2 yards of fabric, which again makes it really simple for me because a lot of times I have no idea how much fabric I'm supposed to use. But I opened it up this morning and I read through this pattern and I definitely got confused. There's so many things on here, like the right side, the wrong side, and this kind of stitch and that kind of stitch, and it's all very confusing to me. And so I think I'm gonna skip it. I have these 2 Christmassy patterns right here. I saw this one at Joann Fabrics recently, and it has gingerbread men and rolling pins and mittens, stuff like that. And so I thought this would be really perfect for an apron. And I also liked this Christmassy plaid pattern. I really want to mix these 2 together somehow, like maybe make this the top and this the bottom, or make the whole apron like this and use this for the ties and maybe a pocket. That's the thing with aprons, is that there's so many different styles. You can make them a million different ways and really personalize it however you want it. And because of that, I'm having a hard time making a decision. I'm overwhelmed with the possibilities. This happens to me all the time. I was just talking to my friends this morning about being overwhelmed with books, like having so many options, it's overwhelming. And I feel the same way with sewing now. I have such a huge list of things I want to make, and then looking at all the different ways that you can make them makes me kind of like frozen and I end up not doing anything. But we are going to work on this apron together and we'll see what happens. Gotta take a hot chocolate break. I just broke up a candy cane and stuck it in and it melted and it's perfection. Okay, what I am gonna use from this pattern is, if you can see the shape right here, this is the top of the apron. So you basically take your fabric and you fold it in half and you lay this on top, you pin this down to your fabric, and then you cut the shape out of the fabric. And so that will give you the top part. And I also think I will cut out the shape from this for the bottom part, but then kind of figure out the sewing on my own. So I'm going to stick some pins in this, and this is just to hold this down so it doesn't move around when I'm trying to cut the fabric. And there is the top of the apron. All right, I'm looking at this. This is the bottom of the apron. It says skirt on here, and it says to cut one on fold. So I cut this shape out, and then again, I fold the fabric in half, lay this down, and cut that out. So I got the pattern for the skirt cut out, and I just attached it to my fabric with the pins, and I'm gonna cut this shape out. I also cut out the pocket, and so I'm gonna pin this to this fabric and cut out pockets. Okay, got my ties, and then we're also going to need a piece that goes around the neck to hold the apron up. I have no idea what size I'm going to need for that because I'm not using the one on the pattern. So I am just going to go ahead and cut this whole length and try to size it later in the process. I have to do a lot of hemming because otherwise I have a lot of these rough, ugly edges, and I don't want any of that. So the correct way to do this that I should probably tell you is to fold your edge over, and you're supposed to iron this down. Ironing makes a huge difference in your sewing, and it's my least favorite part, and a lot of times I skip it because I just hate doing it. And since there's so much hemming to do on this, I might skip it and see what happens. Actually, before I do anything, let me try this and see if I like the size of it. And I don't. I actually think this is a bit too much fabric. I would kind of like it to end maybe around here instead. So I might cut this some. Okay guys, this is why I'm saying you're not gonna learn sewing from me. You're just gonna follow along and see how I screw things up. Okay, I am guessing that much. Real sewers are crying watching my video. I am sure of it. People who are professionals, I'm sure they hate me right now. Okay, let's see if I like this. I think that still goes around too far. But what I'm gonna do is just fold it under and hem it a little larger than I would normally hem, if you understand what I'm saying, to make it more narrow. So yeah, I am just going to basically pin this all the way around so I can sew all the edges down and make it nice and neat. So I've got all my edges pinned down, so now I can just sew all the way around this to make this neater. But I just realized that the color that I have in my machine is wrong. I don't want to use this color thread, so I have to switch this out. I also think I should change my needle because I haven't changed my needle once since I've been making these projects. So it's probably past due. And that's a big part of the problems I was having years ago when I was trying to sew. I was not doing all of the things for your machine that you're supposed to do. So apparently you're supposed to oil this thing. I just found that out today. Also, there's this whole area underneath here that you're supposed to clean out. It gets really dusty and little bits of thread get stuck down in there. So you're supposed to clean that out really good. And yeah, it just needs maintenance, which I just didn't think about back in the day. And so back then I was sure my machine was possessed. I was sure of it. I wanted to throw my machine out the window every time I used it. It was constantly jamming. The thread would jam and it would lock up and I wouldn't be able to sew. It was a whole thing. And I don't think there were as many videos on YouTube for sewing as there is today, so that's helpful. But yeah, there's this little part on your machine that goes here. It's like a storage container and it slides off. And in here I keep some bobbins and my needles. So I'm going to change the needle. I'm going to swap out the thread. Also, apparently there's different needles for different types of fabrics and different projects. Again, that is not something I really understood years ago when I was trying to sew. So I just went to the store and bought all the different kinds of needles. And again, I'm just trying to figure that out as I go along, what needle is good for what. This one says universal on it, so I'm assuming it works for everything. So this is the one I'm going to use. So because there's a lot of green in this fabric, I'm going with green thread. Not sure how well that's going to look, but that's what I'm doing. So my machine has like a little diagram on the top that lets you know how to thread it, where to put your thread, because it's like a whole process. And I have gotten pretty good with it. When I first started trying to figure this out, it took me forever, but I have threaded it so many times now. It's not awful. The hardest part for me is threading the needle because I can't see. Okay, I've got the top one on, and that was a struggle. Trying to thread this needle, I need a magnifier. I've seen they have these like magnifying light things that help you use your machine. I definitely need one of those. Okay, we've got all the thread done, and so I'm gonna go ahead and hem this skirt, and then after that I'm going to pin all the other stuff, like pin all the edges down so I can hem all the other pieces, and then we will try to put all the pieces together. All right, I'm just taking some of the pins out that I didn't grab as I was going through this, sewing it down. Apparently I left a lot in there. You should really take them out as you go along, but as you can see, we don't do anything right around here. So now I've got to hem down all these other pieces. And here is the top part of the apron. So it will go like so, and then attach at the bottom to the skirt part. And then I still need to figure out the length of the strap up here. So, but yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. Okay, I have been sewing for a while now. I did the hemming on the top part, the bottom part, and the pockets. I started to sew the straps. Well, I sewed one strap and I sewed it on the wrong side and the wrong way. I decided later after I did this wrong that I don't want to do it this way anyway. So I'll either cut another strap, cut another length like this and redo it, or I'll take my seam ripper, which will be a pain, and rip all these seams out. I haven't decided yet. I have the top piece here all hemmed, and I have the skirt, and then I have these two pockets, and I attached the pockets onto the skirt. I haven't sewed them on yet, but I need to figure out how to attach this to this, and I think it's supposed to be like gathered, you know, so this is like scrunched up, and I've never done that before. I know there's instructions for this in the pattern, but I don't know what it's saying, so I might just try to like bunch it up as I'm pinning them together and see if that works. And then work on the straps. These straps are a pain. So anyway, that is where we are so far. I think for right now, I'm going to sew these pockets down and I'm going to try to pin this to this and see if I like how it looks when it's pinned together. right, I've got the top and the bottom connected, and I've got the pockets sewn on, and I just kind of pinched the fabric on the skirt because it's wider than the top. I just kind of pinched it in a couple places and pinned it and then hemmed it down with the pinches. It is not perfect, and that's how we do around here, but from afar, it looks fine. So I think it turned out better than I was expecting. Last thing I have to do now is all the ties. I was thinking of putting the tie all the way around the waist like that and then tying in the back, or I can put the ties just on the end and kind of sew it underneath there, just have them coming out the end like that. I don't know. See, that's the problem with aprons, is that there's 1,000 ways to do this. And then the necktie, I just have to figure out how long I want it, and I have to sew it down. I think the neck will be the easiest part, so I think I'm going to do that next. Okay, so it's all done. I had to come downstairs because it's really dark outside right now, and there's like no light upstairs. So let me show you how this turned out. There we go. There is the apron. I think it fits perfect. It turned out even better than I was expecting, and I love that I added the pockets. Not sure how often I'll actually use pockets on my apron, but I have them if I want them. I love the straps. They're really long, so I just attached them to the sides here and can tie it around the back and put a bow in the front. But this turned out perfect. I'm just thrilled. Anyway, I'm really glad that you all joined me for this project. Let me know if you guys want me to keep making videos like this, and if you have any ideas for me, like simple projects that I could try to make. My battery's dying, so I really do have to go. I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.